dropped a couple times in conversations with us that several of your players were going through a lot of stuff regarding how you were going to handle your talks about social justice. Can you talk a little bit or explain a little bit about what the process was coming to the point where you did today with the video?
Yeah, we've had numerous conversations all off season, really. I mean, as a group, just talking about this issue. It's something that I think everybody agrees on, when it comes to, racial equality and trying to, tackle the social injustice issues in our country. Obviously, we respect everybody's opinion. Everybody has different thoughts and backgrounds and beliefs, especially when it comes to politics. So, we wanted to make sure that we wanted to be unified with our overall message, but also respectful to the different beliefs and different politics and policies that people believe in. So it was tough. It's a tough conversation to have with a group of guys that are pretty passionate, a lot of times on both sides. But nobody denies the fact that we want racial equality in this country, and everybody agreed in that locker room, and we fully support that. So it was a very, very constructive conversation when we've had it, and we continue to have those conversations. And one thing we decided as a group is that we're not going to just stop. This isn't just about opening day. The guys in that room, came up with some really good ideas. Gibson obviously with the putting the video together, and those were Gibby's words. Like they rang true in all of our hearts. So we felt it was important to get that out, especially to the media when a lot of our players can't talk to the media the way things are right now. We didn't want to expose anybody or make anybody kind of singled out by a decision they make. Everything we do is as a team. While I said respectfully, respecting the rights that everybody has a different opinion on certain matters. So just because they wear a patch or don't wear a patch, we are unified. That's the point we wanted to get across. We all believe in it. We stand by Willie, our African American staff members, Krabby, Josiah, Bees, our other players. Obviously Willie and Taylor, Alex Bees and DeMarcus, and every other African American staff member and player that we have in the organization and across this country. Honestly, we all believe that they should have the same rights. So it's a sensitive subject, but we tackled it, and we want to continue to have these conversations as a group.
Is that the shirt that all players will wear, or will they be different shirts?
No, I think that like I said, we're going to respect the rights for guys wanting to wear different shirts. I'm probably going to actually have a Black Lives Matter shirt on for BP. I haven't got it yet. It is what it is. It's to me, it's more about the cause than the actual organization. And everybody has, like I said, you can look at it different ways. Guys are passionate about it, and we got to respect that, and I support that. But also, I support Willie, and I support all of my African American friends.
Great. Thank you for those answers. Appreciate it.
Next question, please. Who else has a question? TR.
Chris, what is your decision on a fifth starter?
We're going to pitch Lance on the fifth game. We've informed Jordan, that it's obviously we have full faith in Jordan Lyles as our fifth starter, but it was a way with the off days that we could kind of manipulate our starting rotation. So Jordan will pitch, I believe, the eighth game. So it's at this point, felt like it was the best way to get one of the better pitchers in baseball, an extra opportunity, and maybe our top three an extra spot around at some point.
So when will Jordan make his first start?
I believe it's the third game in San Francisco, the eighth game.
Next question. Let's go to Alex.
With the expanded playoffs, every team's chances have now increased by about 20%. And one of the things with the shortened season is how much of a leash guys who are struggling in the bullpen or at the plate. Does the expanded postseason, does that change your philosophy at all if the leash is longer or shorter?
That's actually a really good question, Alex. I don't think so. I think we're going into this with, obviously there's an advantage at the end of this season there, likely are going to be fans, hopefully in the stands. So if we can get 3 home games at this ballpark with fans, that's a distinct advantage. Obviously, if there's no fans, it's not as much of an advantage. But that's the way we're looking at it. We're looking at it, we're in first place right now with 60 games to go. I think maybe as the season goes on, that's a better question to ask me after 20 games or 30 games even. I still think I'm managing it the same way. The leash is not going to be as long as it would be. I think I've expressed that to all of our players, both on the offensive and the pitching side. But it is a really good point to see if that would make a difference because of the expanded playoffs. But I'm not looking at it as any different as of right now.
Thanks, Woody.
Next question, please. Raise your hands. Jeff.
What is Willie's status?
He's available tonight, but obviously not starting. More of a pinch hit role. Probably have to pinch run for him if he gets on. Not because he can't run, but just obviously we'd probably have a faster guy on the bench. But I don't want to risk having any setbacks. But he could DH tomorrow.
Okay, so he seems very close then. That's safe to say.
Yeah, very close if he's going to DH tomorrow. I think he'd be available. Obviously, he'd be fine to run. Obviously if he hits, I'm not going to put him in any situation where I feel like we're going to have a setback.
Next question, Chris.
One thing I noticed about the lineup today is that Chu's DHing and Solak's in left. Chu had played in left for the 2 exhibition games. Thought process on that? Do you just like what you're seeing from Solak in the field? Just what's your thought process?
Well, I think I'm going to flip him. Obviously, if Willie plays tomorrow, he'll be DHing. So I'll have Chu out in left tomorrow. Solak's a little bit faster. I think in left field probably covers more ground. I totally, I have no problem putting Chu out in the outfield, but I did that more to get Chu, some work out there with Willie going down. It became a situation if Willie can't play the outfield and we're facing a right-handed pitcher, most obviously Chu's going to have to play left field. So I wanted to get him some reps, against another team before I actually put him out there. So I trust either one of them.
Next question, Sam.
Just going off of what Alex asked you, do you like the idea of the expanded playoffs? Would you want to see that kind of long term, or does it just kind of make sense in the short season? And what are your thoughts?
I think it does make sense in the short, season, but I would be totally for it, and not just because it gives you more opportunity, but I think it's just, it keeps more teams involved. I'd rather be the best team in baseball and not have to worry about 15 other teams, but at some point it just keeps a lot of teams in it for longer, especially the teams that are kind of out of it early. It's going to take a long time to knock everybody out of the playoffs. So, I think it just brings excitement to a lot of cities that would otherwise not have it. And it makes it a little bit more competitive. I think, the idea that you get all 3 home games in that first round, maybe a good team does get knocked off the first round. But if there are fans and you have 3 games, at home, it's going to be tough to lose 2 out of 3, especially if you're the top seed. But I like it. I'm all for it.
Any other questions? Levi.
Also a playoff question. I just realized that have we heard what that round's going to be called? We've got the ALCS, the ALDS. Do we have a name for this new first round?
The semi-divisional series? That's what I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay, yeah, just
semifinals for the division? I don't know.
Okay, sorry, that's the only question I had. Thanks.
Any other questions? Evan.
Hey, Woody, just to go back to one thing, did you watch either of the games last night on TV?
I did, yeah. I didn't see the beginning of the Yankee game, but I saw the Dodgers-Giants game.
So, you're going to be in that kind of similar situation, and what went through your mind watching, both Dave and Gabe going through that, and how the teams reacted?
Yeah, obviously we all have thoughts on it, and that's where we're kind of at as a group. Like, we want to make sure that everybody in that clubhouse respects each other's rights to, express their opinion, however that is. So I don't think we're, the pie in the sky version of like, hey, we're all going to do the same thing. I don't know if that's if you've had a real conversation, if everybody on this Zoom call would do exactly the same thing, and it's not fair. I don't think, being a leader of this team and talking to so many of our players and and JD and everybody has had an opinion in this and had a voice in this. I don't think it's fair to ask, unless it's in their heart to say I'm going to fully support Willie or fully support Bees or Krabby or something to that effect, and you can put something aside, which I can personally do, but I'm not going to ask everybody to personally do that. So just because some guys may be standing or kneeling, listen, we're all unified in that clubhouse. We all believe in each other. We care about each other. We love each other, and I think that's a good representation for what we should be as a society, in my opinion.
And just to clarify, did you say that in the conversations with the team, basically Kyle threw out the idea of doing a video?
Yeah, amongst other ideas like long term, but that was something that we could put out right away. We got that done in a day, by the way. Like, it was amazing to see that come together, just to see the care and the love for each other, and his words were fantastic. But we want to take this beyond that. We want to make sure, we had ideas of, creating our own organization, for the Texas Rangers, how we're going to support the community, how we're going to, fund, certain things that can make a real change, can bring change, in this area. So I love it. I think it's a conversation we're going to have often, but it's tough. It's not easy. It's a sensitive subject, and we're trying to tackle it head on.
Thank you, sir.
Obviously, Lynn did a pretty good job. Were you concerned about his pitch count earlier? What do you think of what he did?
Sometimes I'm not surprised by it, what I saw last year, but through 4 innings, I wasn't sure he's going to get through 5. Command was a little erratic early, walked 4 guys kind of uncharacteristically. But you could see just the grit and the determination this kid has, man. He ends up going 6 and, allows us to kind of use the bullpen later in the game the way we did. So not surprising. I mean, Lance has showed us that all year last year. It was a great performance.
Story hit a ball in the 8th inning that you think that might have been an example of this ballpark being a little more fair to pitchers as opposed to across the street?
Yeah, maybe. The one thing about left field, I guess the old ballpark was pretty tough to go. So it's hard to say on that ball. But if that ball would have been hit to right center, absolutely. That's a big spot out there. Obviously saved us 2 runs.
Next question, please. Levi.
I want to ask about one reliever, but I'm probably going to end up asking about both. Let's start with the clerk. How important was it for him to get past that first 6 balls right out of the gate to be able to come back from that and close out the inning?
Yeah, I know the other one you're going to mention as well. So, yes, both guys, especially Leclerc, huge to get him through that. Starts off with 6 balls. There's a couple pitches early in the first batter that were tight. They were kind of close, and that, in the past, derailed him. And, we saw it in the first batter. He ends up walking him 2-0. But he ends up getting through it, and I know that, it wasn't the way he would like it. He was 1 pitch away from, walking a couple guys and, creating some havoc out there. So he got through it, though. That's the biggest thing. I think moving forward, I think he'll sleep better tonight, knowing however he got it done, he got it done. Same with Jonathan. Put him in the – I look at Walk, to start the 8th inning. I was like, well, I was hoping I could give him a little bit softer landing, but a 1-run game in the – with the top of the Rockies lineup. It's one of the best top 4 hitters in baseball. And he got through it. He gave up a weak ground ball. Didn't derail him at all. Kept making pitches, throwing strikes. I thought the Arenado walk was perfect, just the way he pitched him. I considered walking him, but I just looked and I said, listen, if he's got such good stuff, if he just makes a few good pitches, either Arenado has to chase or he gets beat. And I was okay with that. It was a perfect execution of pitches, and then, obviously made some really good pitches on Murphy to finish it off.
Thanks.
Next question, please. Let's go to Alex.
Back to Lynn, it seemed like he was missing well high. Do you think that was more so maybe adrenaline because it was his first opening day, and then he settled down?
Potentially. I mean, I guess I'd have to ask him. I know he was, he kept saying his front foot was kind of slipping a little bit. I'm not sure. It didn't seem like it was slipping. I just think, something wasn't right early on, and that's why you see the high misses. But one thing about him, he's not going to quit. He's not going to give in. He's just going to keep battling. Like I said, he had no business throwing 6 innings, but he ended up doing that. For us right there, it was huge.
Next question, Jeff.
Hey, so how does it feel to be 1-0?
I've never been 1-0. I don't know. I'll tell you tomorrow. Feels pretty good right now. We never lost a game in our new ballpark. Last year we were 0-1, so feels good.
What did you see from Marquez there in the first 5 innings?
I've seen that a lot, unfortunately. He did a really good job against us in LA, and we had a pretty potent lineup in LA with a lot of lefties, and we didn't sniff him. I mean, he pitched. I think the last game of the season. We had a playoff game against them, and he ended up. I mean, he threw 5, no-hit innings against us then. So I know the stuff with that kid is elite. He's got a really hard, obviously firm fastball, but the slider is tough to pick up, and the delivery is so deceptive because it's so just slow, and then the ball kind of jumps on you. So I wasn't surprised. I knew we were up against a tough outing.
Other questions for Woody? Chris?
Bringing back Robinson Chirinos obviously was a big addition for this club. What can you say to his ability to, number one, be able to go out there and calm the pitchers down, especially the younger guys, and then number two, from what I saw, a couple of those pitches from Leclerc were a bit outside of the zone of his pitch framing ability as well. Just what can you say about what Chirinos' role in this team?
Yeah, I mean, it's we're lucky we have 3 really good ones as far as that goes, but Robbie's calming influence back there is something that I had to witness from the opposing bench last year. I knew, obviously, his time with the Rangers, everybody spoke so highly of him, and that was something that they mentioned quite often. There's one thing, there's a lot of trust there, with the pitching staff, especially 2 young, Latin arms that come in there, that we need to be good for us to have a chance. And they both kind of, got in a little bit of trouble, and he was able to kind of, get them out of it and kind of work them through it. It's huge for us. It's huge to have Robbie back there in those moments.
And I just wanted to ask about Woodward as well. Obviously, he had a really big hit, drove in the only run of the game. Just for the mental stability aspect that we talked about with other players, what does that mean for him?
I mean, it's one thing about Rugi is he's never lost confidence in himself, and I know a lot of people maybe at times especially last year lost confidence in him from a fan's perspective. But if they saw what this kid brought every day, regardless of how well or how good he's doing, I think they would obviously change their tune, and that's why I have supported him from day one. This guy could change our ball club. He could change our organization if he's as good as we want him, as we believe he can be. He's fearless. He brings it every day. He's a great teammate. He does everything we ask. So, I'm his biggest cheerleader because I know that for us to win a championship, Rugi Odor has to be good, and hits like tonight will obviously help that confidence.
Other question? Anything else for Woody? Evan? Would you unmute yourself, please?
On Leclerc, you said that situation kind of tended to derail him at times last year. Did you see him respond any differently tonight than he did in those situations?
Yeah, I think so. I think you can watch him breathing. He's got a lot of techniques that he's kind of working on to get through those moments. They're not easy. Obviously, when you're the closer, everything kind of falls on your shoulders, and he cares, like I said last year, almost too much at times, where he can't just say, let it go, forget it, it's okay, you're not letting anybody down. But he takes it personal. He wants to win more than anybody in that locker room. But he's worked on a lot of things to kind of control his emotions, not get caught up, be able to execute maybe after he misses a few times. So to see it in action and to see it the first game, I mean, it was the most difficult situation you can imagine. I mean, he put himself in that situation, but he was able to get through it, continue to execute pitches, especially with the 2 full counts at the end. Like I said, he was 1 pitch away from making that a real tough opportunity to get out of. So, but he got it done. At the end of the day, he did get it done.